Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to our In Conversation event. This is with a good lawyer, and we have amongst us Josh Weinberger. Do you prefer Josh or Joshua?
Well, Josh, is all good. Thanks, Paramita.
Wonderful. And the topic of our In Conversation today is expanding your startup legal knowledge from a startup. Believe it or not, Good Lawyer is a startup, and we are here to hear a lot about them, how they started, their journey, what they have been up to, where they are leading. This is an In Conversation, and very interesting to say that our In Conversation actually started last year in November. So we are very close to completing 1 year of these virtual events. So thanks very much for everybody and their supports. So to start any good thing that we do here, we respectfully acknowledge that we are primarily located on the traditional lands that are now known as part of Treaties 6, 7, and 8, and homeland of the Métis. We respect the sovereignty, lands, histories, languages, knowledge systems, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit nations. A very little background for the people who maybe have not heard about the Health Innovation Hub before. It is a community incubator for innovators and entrepreneurs who are working towards better human health outcomes. And we are a part of the University of Alberta. But as of June from this year, Health Innovation Hub is operationalized by Applied Pharmaceutical Innovation. Uh, who are our clients? Essentially, we serve all across the ecosystem. Our clients are entrepreneurs and researchers who have created or who want to create a startup and who are looking for support. As such, we create different opportunities to help them identify the resources out there, and Good Lawyer is one such excellent resource. We also have students and trainees. These include current and past students, and they can be from any post-secondary in Alberta, as well as service providers such as investors, law firms, consulting bodies, and such. We provide a whole range of different services. For one, we have an incubation space. It also provides office and lab space. We host different types of events in this space, including our in-person meetup, which is Health Innovators Meetup, happens every month. We also do a lot of information sharing through newsletters, also ad hoc programming supports, as well as connections to community and different types of consulting projects. We usually have a business model of applications coming in, companies apply, and then we look at these applications to analyze whether they are a good fit for what we are doing, identify the areas of support that we could provide, and through a hands-on model where we progress the track and we track the progress of the companies, we identify how we are helping them go on in their commercialization journey. So we do have a lot of companies at this moment, 51. Some of these are alumni companies, some of these companies who are currently located in the hub, some of them who are located virtually in the hub and talking about having an actual office presence. Many of them around the health sector, as you can see from this, around digital health, medical devices. There are companies in the pharmaceuticals and biotechnology as well. We are affiliated with the University of Alberta, but that's not all. We do have other companies who are in other universities, such as the University of Calgary and Lethbridge. Success of our companies, we have been instrumental in helping them. So we have helped to companies to in creation of jobs, helped to them to reach funding goals and metrics, and as well as identified ways for them to get intellectual property. You can contact us anytime to get more information. You can find us on LinkedIn as Health Innovation Hub, or look at our website and join the hub, or send this information on to people whom you believe will be benefited by knowing more about the hub. So without further ado, let us hear more from Josh about Goodlawyer and how they help a lawyer and help a startup with expanding their knowledge. Over to you, Josh.
Awesome. Thanks, Paramita. Well, hello, everybody. Glad to be here to have the opportunity to chat a little bit, share the time together, and I think give you all maybe a little bit better picture of what exactly Goodlawyer is all about. I'm really happy to turn this into more of a dialogue as we go. I think we've got kind of the right numbers here in terms of participants to have a bit more of a discussion as opposed to a full-on pitch. Yeah.
I have to interrupt you.
Sure,
I did not give an introduction about you.
Oh, okay.
How could I have forgotten that? Sorry about that. We did have some technical glitches at the beginning. So very excited to have Josh here. He is Goodlawyer's Chief Operating Officer. Josh is committed to empowering entrepreneurs with legal tools to fuel their business growth. From his experience working at Canada's largest law firm, Josh understands how legal matters can make or break a business idea. In his role with Goodlawyer, Josh shares his insights and expertise to level the playing field and help founders utilize the legal strategies and tools that large companies use to win. Josh's unique approach to the practice of law stems from his belief in the power of teams and helping those around them. Thank you so much, Josh.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for that introduction. I guess what I'll do here is I will share my screen and I will take us through maybe a little bit of a story and a pitch here, but as I said, I'm happy to deviate and have a little bit more of a conversation as we go. So Goodlawyer is all about helping founders succeed. I think that's a mission and a core value that we would share with the Health Innovation Hub and a lot of the other different industry players that are a part of the startup ecosystem. Fundamentally, we want to encourage more ambitious entrepreneurs and ambitious scientists and ambitious dreamers of all kinds to take those ideas and try entrepreneurship and try to build businesses and startups around them. The key area where we've sort of focused around in trying to facilitate that and help more entrepreneurs succeed, help more founders, help more startups succeed is on the legal side of things. And Paramita, as you sort of mentioned in reading my bio, that really is the core competency that myself and the rest of the Goodlawyer founding team bring to this story, is that we are all trained corporate lawyers by background and by specialty. So Goodlawyer is a two-sided marketplace. We bring together founders with ambitious business ideas and complex legal needs on one side, with independent and boutique law firms from across Canada on the other side. These are lawyers and law firms that have unique specialties that are well suited to supporting many of the varied and complex legal needs and circumstances that founders will encounter as they're growing and scaling their business. The core clients that we focus on serving, or customers that we focus on serving, really are startups that match that whole spectrum of really early stage to more mature scaling technology companies. So at the early stages, we primarily help our founders with really the initial startup, spinning up and incorporating and organizing a new entity, hiring your first employees, organizing your governance relationships and ownership relationships among your founder teams. Beyond that, we have helped our customers and our founders with protecting their intellectual property and raising capital and closing in on investments as their business matures and they follow that scaling journey. The primary reason why we built Goodlawyer and why we've focused our marketing efforts and focused our business model around supporting founders and around supporting startups and entrepreneurs is because for that cohort of consumer legal services, there's really poor, what I'll call founder firm fit. And our customers are typically left with two really inadequate options for managing your legal affairs and your legal needs as you're attempting to grow and scale and succeed with your business. So on one hand, you have the traditional law firm model, which entails, by default, really high, expensive billable hour rates to serve your legal needs. Typically, you're not going to get excellent service in that context, although you would almost always will have the right quality and competency. We found that founders typically don't get the level of service attention that they're hoping for because, frankly, you are a small fish playing in a very large pond. And these large law firms have really grown and developed over many, many years to serve the interests of large businesses, large enterprise. So that's, the traditional option on one side. The other option that founders have at their disposal and typically will avail themselves of is really the spectrum of do-it-yourself type solutions. And that might be online templates or advice from a friend of a friend or advice from another founder. And that's really sort of we'll risk it until we can afford down the road to pay the costly legal bills to clean it up. So, as I say, two really inadequate solutions, and the whole Goodlawyer narrative and business model is really oriented around delivering an alternative solution to large law firms and to sketchy templates and do-it-yourself solutions by building, trying to recreate the expertise and the service and the quality that you get in a large law firm, but delivering it through this sort of tech-enabled solution that in a way that can really deliver an experience that is better, faster, and cheaper for our customers. So, what makes us better? I think our core focus for delivering a better experience for our customers is really by honing in and recruiting the right specialized legal talent to be a part of our network. So that is a huge undertaking that we've focused in on here for the last 2 years, really going across Canada and pinpointing and selecting the top tier lawyers that we want to work with in our marketplace and integrating them into our business. And really the foundational aspect of that is looking for lawyers that have experience working with startups, looking for lawyers that have experience working with successful, sophisticated companies. So they're bringing, a track record of, what it looks like to work in a high functioning organization. And then looking for lawyers that are specialized in certain areas of law that are directly correlated with, the journey that a founder might experience as they're building a startup. So that's, core specialty and focus in corporate commercial law, in technology agreements, in employment law, in intellectual property, in corporate finance, raising capital from venture or institutional investors. Each of those areas of law are unique disciplines. And frankly, any lawyer that says that they can do all of those things at a very, high standard is really a red flag for somebody that we would be talking to about joining the Goodlawyer marketplace. So we really do emphasize that specialized expertise. We are faster than the traditional alternatives in this space because we are being built on a web-based platform where we're tech first by design, and as a result, we can connect with, we can communicate with, and we can serve our customers much faster, much more efficiently than the traditional models. And finally, we are using technology, processes, building legal products, and standardizing certain stages and steps that a founder goes through as they create their business to really bring the costs of the early stages of building your business from a legal perspective down as much as we can. And in a lot of cases, cutting those legal bills in half. So that makes us, I think, this purpose-built solution designed to serve founders really does make us founders trusted advisors. And that is a core piece of how we sort of modeled our business and the place that we want to occupy with our customers. We really do want to develop this unique, highly trusted relationship with our customers. And from MVP to Series B, that is really our core competence in that space. But you don't have to say my word for it. To date, we've served thousands of startup founders and customers from right across the country in various different areas of legal support, legal need, and specialty. And I'd really just encourage anybody that's hanging out with here today to ask me about it in our conversation, or to check out our website, read some of our testimonials, check out some of these videos and content that we put out into, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn or other places, because I think that social proof has been really critical and important to our business growth, and really helped kind of establish our credibility in this space. This relationship that founders have with their legal service providers and the people that really have this unique position of trust and insight into their business, it really does become an intimate relationship, and it really is grounded in trust. So this social proof, I think, is hugely important for us, and I stand behind any of these reviews and testimonials and encourage you guys to check them out. Take a quick second to maybe talk a little bit more about the talent behind our marketplace. Fundamentally today, the Goodlawyer product really is the legal talent that we bring in and that we work together with, and that serve the customers that come to our website and work with us. And we have, as I said, gone right across Canada to search and seek out the types of lawyers that we want to work with. I'll give you an idea. In most cases, we're looking for lawyers that have senior experience in large law firms or in successful organizations. They have a unique core competency or specialty that they can speak to and that they can serve our customers in, and they have a real desire and interest to work with startup founders, scale-up businesses, technology companies. And when we bring all of those qualities in a professional together and we give them the power of the Goodlawyer platform, we really do see that we're having great outcomes and excellent customer experience. The last piece I want to talk about is just, it's a new product offering for us to date. The core focus of where we've been over the last, I'd say, year and a half has really been trying to productize the services that an early stage founder will encounter as they build their business. And in the process of going through that exercise of productizing something like an incorporation and an initial founder employee agreements, and your shareholder agreements and founder agreements and your trademark and all of those steps, what we did is we built out a fixed fee service menu. And so that fixed fee service menu captures all of these legal services that we know, in order to get from your MVP incorporation through to that Series A and Series B stage, you will have to check all of those boxes on an investor's due diligence list. Each of those pieces is a part of your roadmap, and we have created a fixed fee service for each of those steps, and that's been our core focus for the last couple of years. Where we're at today with the launch of our fractional general counsel product is recognizing that many of our initial customers have reached the stage where they've really outgrown our fixed fee service menu. They look at the menu and they say, yeah, we have our employment agreements in place, we have our privacy policy and our website terms of service completed, we have our founder agreements in place and our shareholder agreement in place, so we know what the governance structure looks like for our business. What we really need now is, some recurring and ongoing support with the legal operation of our business. We're encountering customer and supplier vendor contracts on a regular basis. We have a number of intellectual property assets that require, ongoing maintenance and workaround. We have, like I think for many of the founders that are part of our conversation today, we're operating in a regulated space like health, like whether that's pharmaceuticals or whether that's natural health products or whether that's hardware or technology. Operating in a regulated space means that you may have ongoing compliance oriented tasks and roles to tick off. And so the fractional general counsel really is this idea of, let's give our customers the power of having an embedded team member that works in their business and learns their business and adds value on a part-time fractional basis. So, we know that at the early stages, startups don't have the budget to go out and hire a full-time general counsel. And what we want to do is, create that similar experience to having a general counsel, but on a fractional basis, so that you can deal with those recurring and ongoing operational legal needs as you grow and scale. So that is a little bit of the Goodlawyer journey and where we're at today. I've put up a QR code here on my last slide, and to the extent anybody in the presentation today has more questions specific to your business, and I understand it can be awkward sometimes to share that in a forum like this, I'd invite you to scan my code. That will give you an opportunity to book into my schedule. And I'd be really pleased to chat with you. I don't give legal advice anymore. I don't practice on the Goodlawyer platform, but what I do is, take some of these conversations with founders that I meet in forums like this to really, understand a little bit of your story, understand some of the challenges that you may be having in building your own startup, understand what the priorities from a legal perspective may be, and help you, together sketch out a bit of a roadmap and understand really how to best utilize our platform so that you can start addressing those needs. So that's the offer that I would make here. And otherwise, I'm going to kill my screen share and return back to the conversation.
That was excellent. It gave us a really good perspective. And we already have one very excellent question in the chat. Sarah asks about how early in building the company should founders start talking to a lawyer before incorporating the company?
Yeah, great question. And something that we get a lot. I think generally there might be a few triggers that you look for. There's maybe not the right one size fits all answer for every founder or every founder team. Certainly, if you have a founder team, that's maybe a good trigger to start thinking about, oh yeah, we probably do need a lawyer at the early stages of our business, because it's really, it becomes a shared operation and a shared business idea. And by virtue of sharing that business idea, what you want to do is have really clear decision-making roles and ownership interests kind of at the front of your mind before you get too far down the road in building that business. And I think that's a place where, a lawyer like myself that has that kind of corporate commercial and startup, experience in lean can help you sort of sort through some of those challenging questions. Certainly anytime, beyond that, let's say you're a solo founder, as soon as you start engaging with external parties beyond what I would describe as just sort of fact finding, you're you might be out there doing a little bit of market research. I don't think that's necessarily a trigger right out of the gate that you need to be incorporated and start dealing with a lawyer. But, you know, the more you are engaging with external stakeholders, whether it's, you know, co-founders, partners, customers, suppliers, whatever it may be, to me, those are all good indicators of it's starting to get, starting to become more real. And, you know, a good idea when it starts reaching that stage is to think about incorporation. I do fundamentally think that working with a lawyer through your incorporation process really important. And the key reason why I think that's the case is because there's really two steps in my mind to incorporating. One is the act of incorporation itself, which really is about creating a new legal entity. I think that's something that a lot of the DIY solutions are really good at. You can get that done really cost effectively. But the next piece for it, which is really important, is actually organizing that entity. And that's really where the DIY solutions fall short in a lot of cases. And that's really the place where I think a lawyer brings a ton of value to the table, because it's one thing to create your entity, but then to get it organized so it is in fact compliant with the rules and regulations in your province, in the jurisdiction where you create it, but also so that you are, you know, organized and set up for success in a way with your co-founders, which I, you know, kind of spoke to a little bit. We got to know who owns what and how are we going to make certain important decisions on behalf of the business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah, for asking that question. We do have another question. Quemto asked a question. Bearing in mind that most startups would be limited financially at the early stage, do you have a scheme that allows for a need-based engagement of your legal expertise?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's fundamentally the starting point for how we built the business. And, you know, I spoke a little bit in my, you know, presentation here about the fixed fee service menu that we've developed. I'll just drop a link actually here in the chat, but, you know, the fixed fee service menu is all about giving founders the freedom and the cost certainty to procure legal services on an a la carte basis as you go. So, you know, essentially fill your shopping cart while we're at the incorporation stage, we're ready to hire an employee, and you can click and you can add those services on an a la carte basis as you go. You know, right from the very initial stage, as I said, I think one of the most important pieces is getting your business not just incorporated, but also organized. And for me, you know, that's the power of the startup bundle that we offer. And that's, you know, roughly a $2,500 service. So I don't think that there is any more cost-effective solution in the Canadian marketplace today to get through that early stage of incorporating, organizing, and setting up your business with sort of the core foundational documents that you need to really have that right foundation to grow and scale your idea from.
Right, and that's something that you were also talking about in one of your slides when you talked about the good lawyer advantage. Thanks, Quemto, for that question. I see Marina has her hand up.
Hi, Josh. Thanks so much for the presentation. It's great. So I'm going back to Sarah now. She's pre-incorporation. What would be her journey? Where does she need to go? How would she reach to the lawyer? I'm just curious about how the entire interaction and the process goes.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for asking that question, Marina, because that's actually something that we get a lot and pleased to speak to. So customers come to Goodlawyer in, you know, really two ways. They come to us and might navigate directly through the Goodlawyer booking funnel on our website, or one of the services that we offer is the assistance and guidance of our legal concierge, which is really the name that we give to our customer success department. the role and the goal of, you know, both our booking funnel and our legal concierge team is to understand who you are, what your business is, or your business idea is all about, and then from there identify, you know, the right service, you know, the right sort of stage that you're at, the right service that you're looking for, and then match and connect you with the right lawyer to take you through that process. And so the starting place for all of those engagements, once we've sort of taken you through that process, is what we call an initial consult. You know, it's effectively a meet and greet. And the idea is to help, you know, you, Sarah, or another founder that's in our marketplace, another customer coming to us, have an opportunity to meet the lawyer that you're going to start developing this long-term trusted advisor relationship with. And, you know, at the early stage when you're looking to incorporate and organize your business from the beginning, really where we would be directing you to is toward one of our core corporate commercial lawyers that work with startups that really have this competency in starting, organizing, maintaining businesses so that they do have the, you know, appropriate foundation for growth. As you continue to go through your journey, you know, you might have now an age and stage of your business where you're ready to hire employees, or you're ready to talk about, you know, perhaps engaging with an intellectual property lawyer because you've got an invention that you want to protect, some intellectual property that you want to protect. At that point, I guess there's three avenues here: either the website, your current corporate commercial lawyer, or again, our legal concierge will help direct you to the IP professional that's a part of our marketplace to help you through those next stages. So the platform really exists to help founders ultimately build out this roster of specialized legal professionals that are you know about your business and that are qualified and specialized to serve in each of these different areas of law that you encounter as you grow and scale.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marina. That was an excellent question. And that actually leads me to something that I have been thinking about, because you mentioned that one of your key value propositions is the talent, and that you bring in to help these lawyers. And so when you are sourcing these talents, what is your path for sourcing them? Is it like we just talked about Sarah's journey? Excuse us, Sarah, we are using you as a guinea pig here, but it was
no
an excellent
worries.
question.
No, it's okay.
So we were talking about Sarah's journey, and so when we take somebody like an early stage entrepreneur, and maybe they're coming for a question, we are thinking, my question comes from, how did you start sourcing them? Did you get a question and an inquiry and you figured out, oh, we don't have a roster of talent who can address this need, so we need to source somebody who can work in this specialized field? Or do you do like an audit of the current talent that you have and find areas where you could bring in more specialized expertise? Or how do you go about it?
So I think the way I want to answer this is really by highlighting one thing that I think makes Goodlawyer really unique in trying to serve this space that we focused in on, you know, serving founders, serving startups, serving scale-ups. It's because we're living the same journey fundamentally, Paramita. So, you know, all of these steps on this journey that a startup goes through when they really do have this really ambitious, you know, kind of venture scale pathway in mind. We're living that pathway, and as we hit these different stages, we start experiencing, you know, our own questions and our own roadblocks and our own barriers as we go through it, and that helps us really identify and curate, you know, services, but also understand where we have gaps in the talent, you know, to be able to answer these questions. So, you know, you introduced me as a corporate lawyer. You know, my background is as a corporate securities lawyer specifically. So my core competency was in helping businesses raise capital, or in helping businesses buy or sell assets, buy or sell other businesses. And that is, pretty specialized focus area of expertise. So there's lots of things on my radar that I actually can't help Goodlawyer with on a daily basis. And so, as we went through our own process of having to incorporate and organize among our founders, and then we had one of our founders decide to leave the team and go back to kind of a more typical job in a major law firm. As we hired employees, as we had to develop employee policies around, workplace vacation, whatever it may be, as we needed our trademarks, as we, start to develop, some matching algorithms now that might be more suitable for patenting or trade secrets in the future. We're walking this journey and identifying where we need help and going to the Goodlawyer network and marketplace and, wherever we can to solve that need, and where we can't, identifying that, we really do have a gap here where we need to think about going out and recruiting talent, and this really is, I think, the answer in some cases for us, understanding that there are some places where the large law firms really are best suited to serving the needs of a customer or a business at that stage. And I kind of flashed it up on the slide, MVP to Series B. I really do think that we can competently serve customers through that whole journey. But as your business becomes more complex in terms of scale, more complex in terms of the number of jurisdictions in which you're operating, more complex in terms of your structure for employment and tax purposes, all of these things really do start to stretch not just the competency, but also the workload that independent practitioners and boutique law firms can handle and manage. And in certain cases, we do have to recognize that a referral to an international law firm that has offices and talent all around the world is maybe the best case for helping one of our customers manage a international business portfolio, offices in many different countries, and tax implications and employees in many different countries.
Right. Thank you so much. I think that answers a significant part of what I was going at and thinking about was your own journey as a startup has helped you to identify what are other startups looking for, what are the common things that people need and want, to identify the best ways in which you could scale, grow, bring value. So now you've reached 4,500 and more customers who are happy, satisfied, and growing. I have another follow-up question around those founders, but before that, there's a question in the chat from Marina. Do you want to unmute, Marina, or should I read it out?
No, you can go ahead. Yeah.
So Marina asks, are all your lawyers freelance, or are some of them still connected to big firms?
Yeah, great question. So it's a mixture of both. Primarily, the bulk of the lawyers in our network work either independently or work in what I describe as boutique law firms, which really is sort of 2 to 7 lawyers operating together. We do have some lawyers that work in either large organizations or large law firms, and they're unique. The large organizations is a really cool talent pool that we've started to pull from. And so these are lawyers that work in legal departments within multinational corporations. Shopify is a good example. One of the pieces that Shopify emphasizes for its employees is that its employees take on and pursue side hustles. And what that means for a lawyer that might be a part of the Shopify team is that their side hustle could be serving entrepreneurs and technology companies through the Goodlawyer platform. So we have some really senior legal talent that work in large technology companies that do work for the startups that are part of our network, which I think is such a tremendous opportunity for our customers, because you're in the early days of developing what your terms and conditions might look for, your software. What does your customer contract look like? And you really do get the benefit of a 20-year veteran in the space that knows how some of the largest technology companies negotiate, draft, and structure those agreements, and can pass back some of the best practices and learnings for you, of course accommodating differences for the age, stage, and scale and maturity of the businesses. So I think that's a really unique and cool cohort. That's not one that frankly we had in mind when we started building this business. The core focus for recruiting the talent was sort of the boutique law firms and the independent practitioners, but these moonlighters from the large organizations is a really cool unlock that we've experienced. And fundamentally, those lawyers are seeking opportunities really to connect with startups. They may have started in that organization when it was a bit more startup-y feeling, and now it feels a bit more enterprise and multinational in nature because it's grown so much. And this is an opportunity. Goodlawyer becomes an opportunity for them to kind of get back to their roots and really serve the exciting entrepreneurial customers that they don't know how to meet otherwise.
Right. Wonderful. Thanks so much for that. Which leads me to the question that I was thinking about.
Sure.
Actually, two. One of them is around the different founders, and you have three core advantages. One of them, the skill set, reduced costs. It's not one size fits all. Where do you find most of your founders get the maximum value? Which one of these advantages would you say really caters to most of your clients? And the second question is connected to what you just said about these different companies and the law firms, the work that they are doing for the founders. Is there a way in which, because you said you're a marketplace, so I'm comparing, if I think about Amazon and how Amazon has an Amazon choice. So is there a Goodlawyer guarantee or something like that, where the founder knows that the work that they're getting is top notch?
Both of those questions to me are, I'm going to kind of answer them both at the same time, because of those, the three core value propositions: better, faster, cheaper. When we were designing the business, and we kind of were thinking about the type of company that we wanted to build, and the type of culture and value proposition that we wanted to make core to our service offering. We did a lot of research, and this managed marketplace business model is something that we all got excited about. We thought it was a unique way to, as I said before, try to replicate some of the really good things about a large law firm while trimming some of the fat and the overhead, and fundamentally delivering it in this distributed nature, which is one of the unique things about a marketplace. And in doing that research, reading a lot of the startup books and startup blogs and the like, there really are three core value propositions that a marketplace has to solve in order to really be effective. And it really is, can you be better? Can you be faster? Can you be cheaper? And you don't have to be all three, but you certainly have to be at least one of those. And if you're not, you're kind of dead in the water. I fundamentally do think that we tick all of those boxes. We can achieve each of those three core pieces. But for me, the one that would make Goodlawyer dead in the water, we could not exist unless we could tangibly offer a better quality experience. If we couldn't really deliver from a technical competency perspective, if we couldn't give the right advice, if we couldn't deliver the right documents, if we couldn't handle the types of questions that our founders and our customers are experiencing, it wouldn't matter how cheap we are. And this is something that you know, I think we knew from the beginning, but in order to attract some businesses, I think we maybe led a little bit too much with the cheaper side of things. I think that's a tendency that I've seen in our business, and I've seen in lots of our customers' businesses. You know, you're maybe afraid to price yourself in such a way that feels like it's appropriate, and you know, until you sort of start establishing some credibility and some traction, you're maybe afraid to do that. But in chatting with many of our customers and many of our friends in the startup space over the last couple of years, it really did become clear to us that, you know, your startup is your baby as a founder, and there really was no price that was, you know, low enough that would get a founder to trust us with their business if they didn't think the quality and the competence was there. So, you know, everything on the Goodlawyer marketplace could be $2, and we would have 0 customers if we didn't have the right talent to be able to deliver on those services. So the quality really is the fundamental core component of what we're trying to optimize for. It goes back to what I said before, which is the people are the core of our product today, and that gets a tremendous amount of attention from our team in terms of the resources that we deploy to find great lawyers to build out our talent network, in terms of the support tools that we equip our lawyers with, in terms of the work that we do to productize one of these marketplace services, like an employment agreement, like a shareholder agreement, to really drive towards standardization, so that the best lawyers are, you know, really delivering a consistent product over and over and over again in a way that matches with market expectations. And so the services that come out of Goodlawyer, they need to look like the types of agreements, the types of advice, the types of structures that, you know, the investment community and your employees and, you know, your advisors and whoever else makes up this startup ecosystem, the work that we're doing for our founders has to look like something those stakeholders have seen before. It has to be consistent with the market norms, and that's really, you know, a signal that I think you're delivering good quality product, is when you are in line with you know, what a sophisticated investor might expect, or what, you know, an employee might expect to see in their employment agreement, all of this type of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense, especially with thinking about that the question that I asked around advantage. And when somebody such as a startup founder, and you're absolutely right in saying it could be $2, but unless and until it is top-notch quality, there wouldn't be any people, because one of the core resources that a startup founder does not have a lot of is time. So they might be strapped of money, but they're even strapped of time. And so taking the time to work with a lawyer, and even if it's cheap, it's still time invested. And if they're not getting the value out of it, it would make it very difficult. So they are getting, and you discussed the customer journey, you discussed how you have got this fixed service model now where people can pick whatever they need. People are getting used to Goodlawyer. How is, and they love your services, they would continue on, they would like to continue on. A Goodlawyer is a startup, as you mentioned. So you have your own growth, your own expansion plans, your own exit strategy or IPO. What does your own story look like? So that what I'm thinking about here is, how will you ensure that these clients who have made Goodlawyer a brand which they believe in and depend on, and they will go with you all the way, where would they go if suddenly some big company comes, buys out Goodlawyer, and everything changes?
Yeah, Well, we are definitely trying to mature and grow alongside our customers. And I think the main piece that I spoke to in that regard is the fractional general counsel offering. So to me, that's the first step of evolving beyond our fixed fee service menu, which shows that we can be here to serve our customers as they do become more mature and more complex. And I think we can be a really efficient solution to embed legal talent in a business. And where we found traction actually with some of our current customers and some new customers with that product is really interesting to me. So we have, when we approach a new customer that is already at that stage where they're a good candidate for fractional general counsel, and that to me a good candidate is they've got more than 20 employees. They have a high volume of commercial contracts, or a high volume of compliance oriented processes that they have to monitor and maintain. They may have complex or a large portfolio of intellectual property assets. We come in, and companies that look like that, they almost all have existing legal relationships in place. So they're working with many of the big firms, whether it's BLG or Osler or Dentons or Gowling, Fasken, it doesn't matter. They're typically working with one of these large organizations, large law firms. And what I'm saying to our those customer prospects is, we can work with you and your external counsel in a way that makes your current use of legal resources and legal support much more efficient. And so, you can continue to work with these highly competent, highly sophisticated external law firms for certain areas of your business. So, you're going to do your Series C, or you're going to do, an IPO, or you're going to do some sort of financing transaction with a private equity firm. Use the big law guys. Stay with them. I don't need to interrupt that relationship. They've developed this long-term institutional knowledge of your business and what your fundraising processes look like. Somebody is suing your business for hundreds of millions of dollars, and this is make or break litigation that requires, discovery of tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of records. Stay with your large law firm. We don't need to interrupt that relationship. They're better equipped to manage that. But for all of your day-to-day needs, whether it's your compliance processes, your employment and HR management, hiring, firing employees, your compliance processes, all of that stuff is really, really well suited to pulling under the umbrella of a fractional general counsel. It's not cost effective to be paying an external law firm $500, $600, $700, $800 an hour. If you're in Toronto, $1,500 an hour to be doing those pieces of routine legal work that are sure to occur on a regular basis in your business. And that's where the fractional GC service offering to me is a really cool example of how we can continue to grow and serve our customers as they move through those more mature stages of their business. And so that gives me a lot of encouragement for the growth of our business. I think that means that we can confidently continue to grow and find innovative ways to serve founders along that spectrum, while I think still remaining true to the bread and butter of that fixed fee legal roadmap for the early stage guys. I think the other thing that we're trying to do for the early stage businesses along that fixed fee journey and spectrum is to find ways to embed other solutions that we know are complementary to the legal process. And so again, I talked about, we design products and we recruit talent based on our own experience as we've gone through that journey, and say, well, we needed a trademark, we need a patent, we need to raise capital, we needed a bank and a credit card, we need employee benefits, We need bookkeeping software and payroll software. We need, data security. We're doing a pen testing engagement right now to, ensure that our cybersecurity stays up to the highest standards. As we hit all those milestones, we know they are required and consistent with many of the founder journeys on that same startup roadmap. And we'd love to be able to just embed those solutions within the Goodlawyer network and within the Goodlawyer marketplace so that we can competently meet all of those needs, with preferred partners and the like inside the Goodlawyer universe. And we don't have to, send our founders out on their own to go and find, the best solutions for their insurance, for their banking, for their cybersecurity, whatever it may be.
Makes sense. So seeing that we are very close to time, I do have one last question with which we will wrap up. Around lawyers in Alberta, many of them often apply for micro vouchers from Alberta Innovates. So if they were to take a micro voucher, can they use that for some Goodlawyer services? And if so, a micro voucher is around $10,000. What would they be able to use that value for?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'm not specifically familiar with the Alberta Innovates micro voucher itself, but programs like that from right across Canada, whether it's through the federal government programs like IRAP or others, are great sources of supplementary financing, non-dilutive financing that can be applied in to many different expenses within your business. We've done it throughout our growth as well. We've used some of that funding to pay for things related to our journey, like advice around our trademarks, other legal advice in our business to supplement wages for many of our employees. So I think we'd be really happy to serve any customers that are, seeking some guidance around those programmings and how they can deploy that capital to support their legal needs. One of the core areas where we focused, actually, I know, has been around some of the funding that's available through IRAP for kind of the core intellectual property strategy type work that goes along with protecting your brand, with protecting your inventions, with rolling out a multi-stage strategy for how you protect all of that, not just today, but in the future and in different jurisdictions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are at time here. Thanks everybody for joining us. This has been an excellent conversation. We have learned a lot and there's a lot left to learn. So we will be sharing the presentation with all of the audience here. The recording is going to be put on YouTube, so you can find it, and feel free to connect with Josh. So through either his QR code, which is there in the presentation, or if you want an introduction or something, send us an email at healthhub@ualberta.ca, and we will definitely connect you to Goodlawyer. Thank you so much, Josh, for coming again. This was really wonderful.
Beautiful. My pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.